A pest is a native or feral animal that causes significant impacts to a valued resource. Reducing impacts from pests is an integral part of managing natural resources and agricultural systems. Effective pest management requires regional partnerships, goals, and a long-term commitment to dealing with the problem.
Vertebrate pests have lots of impacts in the environment. I guess largely we talk about managing for environmental values, and that might mean culling over an area that we consider to be an environmental asset. Pastoralists, on the other hand, might manage vertebrate pests for other reasons, things like damage to infrastructure, competition with domestic animals, so for instance competition for water and other food sources. There's a number of pests that we consider to have large-scale impacts in the Northern Territory. Things like buffalo, horses and donkeys, cats can be a big problem, dogs can be a big problem, camels in the southern areas and rabbits in the southern areas, and foxes also can have large-scale problems. We would recommend that people have really clear goals and aims when they go into their programs. So it might be that they're having a certain impact that they want to reduce, and it might be impacts on infrastructure or impacts on water resources or food resources. So therefore, once you have an idea of what your impact is, then you can estimate how many animals that you would perhaps need to reduce in order to minimise that impact. When managing feral animals, we would look at an integrated approach to pest management, so that's things like trapping combined with shooting and baiting if that's appropriate for the animal. Obviously it depends what animal you're targeting. And we would also recommend that people work at a regional level, so working with neighbours to increase the effectiveness of the overall program.
An example of a regional approach is the VRDCA, or Victoria River District Conservation Association, that manages feral horses, camels and donkeys over several properties.
Carrying capacity wise, donkey is almost equals that of a cow. So if you think you got 1,000 donkeys in a certain paddock, you've probably got 800 or 900 less cattle feed available. We did our shoots last year between September and December when your surface water levels are sucked right up, and so there's a lot less, a lot fewer areas for ferals to go and water at. And just efficiency-wise with the helicopters, so you're not wasting so much time flying around in circles. Just in our shooting last year, we shot 11 properties last year, and out of those 11 properties, and that included Gregory National Park, I think almost 15,000 ferals come out of that.
Feral animal management or wildlife management it's a program. It's not something that just takes place once a year. It's something that they may have to revisit over the year, and something they have to keep in the back of their mind so they can have a more targeted approach and really concentrate on the areas that are causing them impacts, so they work on those impacts and don't just do it and waste their money and not get any real results out of it.
In the past, there seems to be a bit of a expectation that if you do a big cull and you knock over a few dozen, 1,000 over the course of a dry season, that's all you need to do. And if that's left for another, 4 or 5 years, and that population will explode. I think it's a recruitment rate of about 2.2%. So, yeah, it doesn't take long for that population to get back up, and you really need to be consistent with your control and be undertaking culls every couple of years at least. To keep those numbers down, especially in the VRD.
Parks and Wildlife Commission is really keen to work with pastoralists to help them achieve these goals by reducing impacts, and it might be helping to identify what those impacts are and how they might be measured over time. It might be helping to identify what goals we need to put in place, helping to work with neighbours, and it might be that there's a park that is a neighbour, so working with pastoralists to help in that respect.